Welcome to This Explainer. Look, we've all seen it happen, right? You have an incredibly competent organization, brilliant teams, flawless technology, and yet the overall mission just completely crashes and burns. It's a massive problem, and today we're going to unpack exactly why that happens. More importantly, we're going to dive into how a meta-discipline known as Mission and Business Engineering, or MBE for short, is absolutely the key to fixing it. Okay, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover why competent enterprises fail. Second, the concept of 3 systems, 1 mission. Third, we'll define mission and business engineering. Fourth, we'll explore the architecture of intent. And finally, Section 5, the practical implications for leaders. Let's get right into it. Section 1, why competent enterprises fail. We've really got to start with a tough, provocative reality that haunts these complex ecosystems. It's honestly a fascinating paradox. You can have individual teams, specific systems, and dedicated projects that are wildly successful. I mean, they are checking literally every single box they were given. And yet, the overarching mission still fails. So, why does local success so often equal mission-level failure? Well, to figure that out, we have to look at the structural incentives at play. Think of it like a giant, multi-directional tug of war. The government, or the customer, they're optimizing for policy compliance and affordability. The suppliers and industry partners are completely rationally optimizing for profit, schedule, and shareholder value. Meanwhile, the engineering teams are heads down optimizing for technical specs, and the operators just want immediate safety and readiness. Everyone is pursuing their own localized goals, which creates this tangled web of misaligned priorities. And here's the real kicker. This whole mess of localized optimization gets locked into place by our commercial structures. Once a contract is signed, the program baselines harden like poured concrete. When the inevitable learning happens later on, when the enterprise realizes, hey, we really need to pivot, they're contractually paralyzed. The contract itself literally turns into a rigid cage that forbids adaptation. Section 2, 3 systems, 1 mission. To break that paralysis, we have to completely shift how we view the engineering landscape. When you compare the traditional approach to this extended paradigm, the blind spot becomes so obvious. Traditionally, we hyper-focus on the program interacting with the actual technology being built, the solution system, but that completely ignores the broader enterprise capability system, the organizational structures and business systems that make the engineering possible in the first place. That misalignment, that's exactly where mission drift is born. So as this illustrates, mission outcomes don't magically emerge from a single technical solution. They actually come from the interaction of all 3 of these systems: the solution system, the project system, and the enterprise capability system. That means if we want to hit our goals, we have to engineer the enterprise that creates the system, not just the system itself. Section 3, mission and business engineering. This brings us to a major pivot point. What is the discipline that actually aligns all of this? Enter Mission and Business Engineering, or MBE. Now, let's be super clear here. MBE is not a replacement for your current systems engineering. Instead, it's the essential meta-discipline. It's the ultimate integrator that forces the solution, the project, and the organizational capability to finally converge. It explicitly treats your entire mission enterprise as the actual system you are engineering. Section 4, the architecture of intent. Let's look under the hood at the mechanism that holds all these complex boundaries together. The absolute core of this framework is what we call the architecture of intent. It boils down to a triad: fit, form, and function. Fit is how well your system matches its external environment. Form is your internal structure, your governance, the shape of the organization. And function is the actual behavior and performance. The architecture of intent makes sure these 3 stay continuously aligned so you don't drift off course. You can see how this builds. The architecture of intent acts as a shared reference frame, kind of like the overarching roof. But it's supported by 3 distinct structural pillars that actively connect your highest level mission purpose all the way down to everyday, ground-level organizational behavior. And these pillars work in sequence. First up, contextual modeling. This gets everyone on the same page early on, preventing diverging assumptions. Second is strategic dissociation. That's a slightly fancy term, but it basically means creating mechanisms to link decisions across strict silos, forcing them to converge. Finally, enterprise requirements context. This pushes requirements way beyond just technical specs to include things like decision rights and organizational behaviors, making sure your team can actually act on new insights. Section 5, Practical Implications for Leaders. All right, so what does this all mean for how you manage and lead on Monday morning? When we look at this continuous learning loop, it's pretty obvious the days of just firing and forgetting a contract are over. Enterprise coherence has to be an active, everyday governance priority. Your adaptability completely hinges on generating rapid feedback from your external environment, right down to system performance, and then coordinating your changes based on that exact feedback. The takeaways here require a pretty massive mindset shift. First off, you literally have to start treating contracts as architectural choices because they dictate what can and cannot adapt. Second, you've got to expand your digital engineering so your digital twins map your organizational decision flows, not just physical parts. And lastly, leaders can't just be taskmasters. You have to actively hunt down cross-system divergence. Leadership is the ultimate custodian of coherence. This captures the whole payoff perfectly. We are escaping that fragmented, siloed reality where local optimization just causes endless rework. By leveraging the MBE architecture of intent, we're moving into a future state where true agility and ultimate mission effectiveness are actually engineered by design, not just left up to luck. If you take absolutely nothing else away from this explainer, write this down. Mission failure is often an emergent property of misaligned enterprise behavior. Your tech could be flawless, your engineers could be absolute geniuses. But if your enterprise behavior and contracts are misaligned, they're gonna sink the mission every single time. So I'm gonna leave you with this to chew on regarding your own organization. Is your enterprise genuinely engineered to adapt, or is it just contracted to deliver? Because in today's incredibly complex world, just delivering to a frozen contract, that is nowhere near enough to guarantee mission success. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into mission and business engineering. Keep adapting, and we'll see you in the next explainer.